familiar with the location as well as the business. I have no questions.
Thank you. Captain Delaney?
Good evening. We're familiar with the business. We have no questions.
Thank you. Director Ruiz?
Good luck, no questions.
Thank you.
Yes. I also don't have issues. I eat there at least once a week when I don't want to cook, so thank you. I would like to make a motion to approve this transfer.
Second.
Mr. Morales made a motion to approve a Happy Meal LLC at 297 South Broadway, where it used to be Cavallo Restaurant. Second by Commissioner Laird. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Laird, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passed. And one thing, again, like the other business, Cavallo has to sign the liquor license before November 30th. And the process for the new license will continue until you get the new one.
Yes.
Okay?
I heard you say in the last LLC.
Inc.
Yes, I just want to
Yes.
correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we gotta pay for, well, let's say we gotta.
Yeah, I'm gonna submit it to the ABCC,
Okay.
and during the process, Cavallo has to sign
Yes.
for the actual liquor
And
license.
pay the,
Yeah,
okay.
okay?
Do I have to send your renewals for Cavallo?
Yeah, we send already the emails,
Okay.
so after November 1st, can start to do the process to renew,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
All right,
Thank you.
good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, this is a long package. Okay. Okay. The following item on the agenda, we have Julio Contreras, DBA, who's applying to change a location for a wholesale dealer license, office space only at 11 Jordan Street. Thank you. Could you please state your name and the reason for the change?
Julio Contreras. La razón de cambiar la licencia es porque la oficina que conseguí está más confortable y me da parqueo por lo menos para mis vehículos y esas son las razones.
Okay. Julio Contreras, and the reason for the change is because the new space just has a little bit more space, and it also allows me to like park my car. It's just a little bit more comfortable for my business. Commissioner Laird?
Yes, I have a couple questions. It's really a house with an alleyway, like a driveway going down to 3 garages, right? And where they do detailing right now, right?
Actualmente es una casa como con un callejón que está conectado a un garaje.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure we can give you a license with being inside of a house.
Él no está seguro si podemos darle una licencia que esté dentro de una casa.
No una casa, es un building comercial, yo tengo el mapa aquí.
Okay.
Commercial building, no es
Okay. So
Déjame enseñártelo, por favor.
yeah. So he's clarifying and showing that it is not a home, it's a commercial building, and he has the printout right now, what it looks like.
All right, my mistake. I thought it was the White House next door to it then, right?
Él dijo, excúsame, él creía que era la Casa Blanca que estaba al lado. Okay, I'm going to go down the line, Commissioner Laird. Is that cool?
No more questions.
Okay, thank you. Officer Cano?
I'm familiar with the location as well as the petitioner. I have no questions.
Usted entiende, sí, que él no tiene pregunta y que está familiarizado con usted y con la aplicación.
Ok, gracias.
Okay, de nada. Captain Delaney?
Best of luck doing business in the city of Lawrence. Got no questions.
Mucha suerte haciendo su negocio aquí en la ciudad y que no tiene más preguntas.
Gracias. Buenas noches.
Espérese, amor, espérese. Director Ruiz.
Va a tener el carro ahí, carro.
No, digo, mi carro yo lo puedo parquear en el frente.
Oh, su carro, ok, pues, yeah, porque dice wholesale dealer
Ya, no.
y después dice office space only, so no va a tener carro, ¿verdad? Ok, está bien, gracias.
Okay. Espérese, amigo. We're just clarifying that we're not going to be adding any cars to that space. It's just a parking space for Rafael's car. Cool. Commissioner Laird?
I make a motion, we pass it.
I will second the motion.
Commissioner Lea made a motion to approve a change of address for Julio Contreras, DBA JC Auto Import, 11 Jordan Street, second by Commissioner Morales. Commissioner Lea, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion pass. Okay, you can process tomorrow the payment, and you will get your new license, okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right, gracias, good night.
Thank you. Okay. The following item on the agenda, we have Express Liquor Mart, Inc., who's applying to add a DAB name at 103 Broadway Street. Is there a Chatel Patel here? They're not here. Okay, so what I will do is I'll make a motion to amend this, to table this item for the next meeting.
Second.
Commissioner Morales made a motion to table Express Liquor Mart, Inc., at 103 Broadway in Lawrence, second by Commissioner Lea.
Yes.
Commissioner Lea,
Yes.
October 23rd meeting. Okay? Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Table matter. Okay.
Okay, sorry, the next item on the agenda, we have International Book Fair, Inc., who's applying for a one-day wine and malt license.
Hi, this is Sarah Perez.
Hi, Sara, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Could you please tell me a little bit about the reason for the application and your events for the day?
Okay, so International Book Fair has been around for 18 years. This is our 18th anniversary, and we're gonna do an event at the 15 Union Street, the Hub, and we're gonna be selling single units, beers and wines. On that event, it's next Saturday, the 19th, from 7 to 11.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Adair, do you have any questions?
I have no questions, sir.
Thank you. Officer Cano, do you have any questions?
I'm familiar with the event. I have no questions.
Thank you. Captain Delaney?
Good evening. A question to the applicant through the chair. Is this on the 6th floor?
No, the first floor, the Hub, first floor, 105.
Okay, wish you the best of luck.
Thank you,
Thank you. Director Ruiz?
No questions, good luck.
thank you.
Awesome. Great. I'd like to make a motion to approve this license.
Second.
Commissioner Morales made a motion to approve a one-day alcohol license for 15 Union Street International Book Fair, second by Commissioner Lea. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Lea, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passed. Congratulations, you can pass tomorrow to pick up your license.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. That's all the items for this evening. The next licensing board meeting will be held on Wednesday, October 23rd at 5:30 p.m. I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Commissioner Morales made a motion to adjourn the meeting, second by Commissioner Lea. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Lea, how do you vote?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, all for coming.
Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the Budget and Finance Committee. Today is Wednesday, October 9th. It is now 6:13 p.m. To my right, I have the Vice Chair of this committee, Councilor Vivian Marmo. To my left, I have Councilor Wendy Luzon. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2020, is this on? Okay. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may either attend here in the City Council chamber or use any of our social media accounts. At this point, please join me in the pledge. Where's Jill? All right, councilors, we do not have any minutes to approve. The first new business item is item 452-24, the authorization to expend $240,000 for the MVPC EPA revolving loan fund to demolish Florence Street Garage, which is a city-owned property. And we have our land use planner, Mr. Dan McCarthy, here with us today. Mr. McCarthy, you have the floor. To Merrimack Valley Planning Commission.
So, good evening, councilors. Mr. Rick Vandenberg, who is our LSP working on this project, is joining me tonight. He's stuck on traffic on the highway. He's running a little bit late. But I think we're all familiar with the project we've talked about. This is the Florence Street Garage. This was up on as a different item about a month ago, and it lost because the loan requires 6 votes. At that time, the EPA came back to us, and this is that there's a very particular situation with both the funding and with the project that we're talking about, and they offered to give us a 0% loan, and which they've never done before. Part of the reason is petroleum funding as a resource has been phased out by EPA. They now conclude everything is just hazardous materials, so there's no petroleum specific. But this is one of the last types of events where there is petroleum and strictly petroleum. It's a case where we have a garage that's been utilized. The owners of that garage are pouring oil and other auto products directly into the soil, and we have a large contamination beneath the building. Another type of use that is typically not approved by EPA is demolition of buildings. EPA usually concentrates on soil contaminations, not buildings, but they agreed to let us use this money for demolition so that we can get to the soil beneath the surface and testing it. And the idea is to use the proceeds from the EPA grant to test the soil and clean up that area. As you are all aware, it's a neighborhood that has suffered a lot of industrial uses over the part. West Street is one of our main automotive repair sections of the city, and this is just a little ways in cleaning up that area. It also it gets rid of a very dangerous building. The conditions on this loan are that we must spend this by the end of this calendar year. We currently have a demolition expert, demolition company that is waiting for a contract to begin, and they think the demolition should take about 2 weeks. So we're confident that we could get this project done within the time set by the EPA. If the money isn't accepted by the City of Lawrence, it goes back to EPA and disappears.
Okay, thank you. Councilors, any questions or comments? Councilor Luzon.
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair. So this loan is zero interest?
The zero,
Is that-
the loan portion of it's zero interest. 40% of it is a grant. We get the money and don't have to pay it back at all. The 60% of it is a loan, and it's at 0% for over the first 2 years, and the intention is to pay it back over 2 years.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made. Is there a second? Seconded by the Vice Chair. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item is item 453-24, the authorization to expend $300,000 for the Municipal Clean or Efficient Energy Initiative of the Merrimack Valley Renewal from the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office. And this is brought to us by our city engineer. I don't know if Mr. Rosario is here with us today. I don't see him. No. Councilors, can I have a motion to table?
Motion to table?
Motion has been made. Is there a second? Second. Properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. All right, next item is item 454-24, the authorization to expend $623,371, a grant awarded to the Mayor's Health Task Force and Lawrence Reach from the Center for Disease and Control. And we have Martha, oh, Martha's not here, no, Alicia's here. You have the floor.
Good evening, councilors. I am here on behalf of Martha Holt, who could not be here this evening.
Can you tell us a bit about this grant and what it's going to be used for?
So, we've been working for a couple of years with the Mass in Motion and the Greater Lawrence Family Health Center, and with information received on health data from the center, we applied for this grant and was funded last year. So this is the second of 2 years. The CDC is asking us to look at conditions around physical activity, physical environment, breastfeeding, and nutrition. And they've made specific stipulations. So for breastfeeding, we're just looking at continuum of care. We know that initiation of breastfeeding is at 92% in the first few days of an infant's life, but once mom goes back to work, it drops to 25%. So we're looking to see how we can work with employers to really keep that continuum once mom goes back to work. So we're going to be working with employers across the community, starting in the Tower Hill area, to see how we can support them so that they can support moms who are returning from maternity leave and who would like to continue to breastfeed their young ones. And there are different ways that they can do that, so we'll explore with them ways that they can do that, creating policies and procedures for their workplace as they see fit, in whatever way they see fit, because there are different ways that we can customize that. Around nutrition, we're looking at increasing access to fresh fruit and vegetables. There's a fresh fruit veggie incentive program that they're asking us to take a look at and see how we can coordinate an increase in that program, getting more people to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. Right now, we're pursuing HIP since it's already funded through the state. HIP is the Healthy Incentive Program that SNAP recipients have, and so it's a mechanism of funding that's already there. We will be looking at ways to pay for that same incentive for people who are not covered by HIP. But since most of our community are HIP recipients, we're starting there, and then we'll branch out, working with the Greater Lawrence Family Health Center to do that. Alongside that, we're asked to look at food service guidelines. We're starting with charitable organizations, And what we're asked to do is to see if there are ways that with a charitable food organization come to what they call choice markets. Those are when people are able, the clients are able to go in and choose what they want from the shelves, more like supermarket shopping, but not paying for it. So that's the gold standard. We're starting with Bread and Roses, Lazarus House, and Neighbors in Need, and then we'll branch into other charitable organizations as we look at that. And again, the whole idea is to look at policies, systems that are in place, how we can support them to improve those if they need improvements, as well as how do we change the environment. So how are we changing the behaviors for the people who are coming to these places, as well as how are we giving them information that they can act on. So whether it's by leaving posters or small cards, how are we doing that? And then for physical activity, we're asked to look at the physical environment as well as what we can do to make changes so people become more active over time. And so right now we're thinking in the way of everyday activities to daily destinations. So how are we improving the environmental space so that people feel comfortable and secure going out for a walk, riding their bike, jogging, doing whatever they do, getting out of the cars and being more physically active. So we're looking to see how to increase physical activity, again, starting in the Tower Hill area and then moving to another designated location. We're starting in the Tower Hill area because given the information we got from the Greater Lawrence Family Health Center, that's the area of most need. It has the highest incidences of diabetes, hypertension, and chronic kidney disease. So that's the information that we're acting on.
Thank you. Councilors, any questions or comments? Council President? Do you have a question? Okay, Councilor Marmo.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Miller, in describing the data as to why you were targeting Lower Tower Hill, because that is kind of like my line of questioning. With that data though, how do you plan on putting into action into offering your services to the recipients that would benefit from this grant? Are you working with any other organizations or are you working solely with Greater Lawrence Family Health Center?
No. So we're working with the Greater Lawrence Family Health Center, GLCAC, so any organization that impacts what we're trying to do. So we're working with MVPC, the Planning Department, and Groundwork Lawrence for the physical activity, physical environment space. We're working with for the food service guidelines, it's the charitable organizations I just mentioned, Neighbors in Need, Bread and Roses, and Lazarus House. For the fruit and veggie incentive program, we're working with the UMass Nutrition Extension program. We're working with Greater Lawrence Family Health Center. We're working with, there's one more, with WIC.
Okay.
So it depends on, we're working with different people based on, and then for the breastfeeding, we're working with Greater Lawrence Family Health Center, WIC, and Lawrence General Hospital.
Okay. Thank you so much for that clarification. Looking at this memo,
and we're also working with the public schools.
Amazing, thank you. Looking at this memo, I'm noticing also that it is indicated that this grant will go towards nutrition, street design, connectivity, and physical activity. The street design, do you mind tapping into what does that mean? What does that entail?
So again, if you're asking people to do something, you sort of have to give them the method to do it. And so if we're asking people to go out for walks or do whatever, we have to make sure that the environment is inviting to that. And so over the years, we've been talking with community members. They don't feel safe. The sidewalk isn't clean. It's broken. So looking to improve all those spaces and then to connect them. So if you have a sidewalk that doesn't lead to anywhere, then what's the use of the sidewalk? So it's making sure that you can get to everyday destinations. So if I want to leave my house to go to the grocery store, can I get there? If I want to leave my house to go to school with my child, can I get there? If I want to leave my house to go to the park, can I get there? So it's looking at those daily destinations where people go on a daily basis. And what does the connections look like from a walker, biker perspective? And if there's need for improvements, how are we gonna work to improve it? So we're working with the community to come up with the ways that they want their space to be improved.
Okay. Thank you so much. Your answers are amazing, and I appreciate the work that's being done to address those needs. So as of yet, there hasn't been an analysis done in terms of what streets needs to be redesigned, or what road, like what sidewalks?
So we did a general assessment. We actually just did a walkthrough with her name is escaping me, from the neighborhood association. We did a walk yesterday. And
The Tower Hill?
Neighborhood Association. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Elsa. So we did a walk with Elsa, the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, Groundwork Lawrence. We were hoping to get a few more people in, but we weren't able to get folks in. But we did a walk through some of the streets, looking at what the current conditions are. I know that the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission and our Mayor's Health Task Force staff was at the recent Tower Hill neighborhood block party, and we're going to be speaking with the congregation at the Lawrence Evangelical Church this coming Sunday. So we're trying to get as much community input as we possibly can to determine which routes we start with, where do we prioritize.
Almost with my line of question. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Council President.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I'm glad that you guys are doing what you're doing at these locations. I mean, it is so important for this location to be identified and studied when it comes to the physical activities, and when it comes to data that is being identified. It is amazing to hear that, you know, people at the Tower Hill area, they have higher probability of kidney disease and higher diabetes numbers, right?
And chronic kidney disease.
Yeah.
Which is associated with diabetes.
Yeah, it is. I've been telling a lot of people that, you know, before we used to have a lot of data when it comes to that Arlington district, and I was always referred to the Lower Tower Hill area as the extension of that area, because I mean it's similar characteristic when it comes to how people live, how people move around, the limitations and other aspects. But I'm glad that you guys are doing this for sure. So just to piggyback on what Councilor Marmot was saying, the connection between the Lower Tower Hill, perhaps with the Upper Tower Hill, or areas that might be designated or designed traditionally within the city of Lawrence to do exercise, perhaps the reservoir. I feel like sometimes there is not a good connection between the Lower Tower Hill and the Upper Tower Hill, because sometimes it's not a route well defined to get to perhaps the reservoir area. Why am I saying that? Well, I live around there, and if you think about it, there is two ways to get from my house. There is two ways to get to the reservoir. One that is very uphill, the people it's kind of intimidated to take it, and the other area that is, if you take a specific route, you might get there without being so much tired because of the hill or the raise on elevations. So having potentially within the design of the whole plan, having routes that actually guide you from point A to point B and show the community as of how you can get to specific places with a specific time distance. That might help because that's something that is, it have been done on the downtown area perhaps. Areas that you can walk in the downtown, it had been done like at the Common Park. If you go
Yes.
if you go around so many times and then you have so many miles, something like that, I think it will help physical activity and will motivate people to take a walk or to get a bike. And also, I was wondering, have you get in touch with any of the cycling organizations that are in the city of Lawrence?
Not yet.
Not yet?
We're in touch with one, but we haven't, for this particular project, no, not yet.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it will be good to get in touch with them because, I mean, they are riding bikes. Still today, they're still riding bikes. So I think it will be important to have that type of connection between any type of grant that is related to cycling, because the perspective that they might have when it comes to that type of physical activity is different than somebody that just grab a bike to come to the ciclovia, perhaps. It is a little different, and not criticizing the ciclovia, but I mean it is a little different. You see it differently.
Understood.
So basically, probably have something like that in the plate and collaborate with this type of organization. Also, will give you an insight as of how things get improved. And going back to the infrastructure and how things get connected, specifically on the Lower Tower Hill area, I think that having an opportunity to connect the housing development that is around there with all the areas around when it comes to sidewalk and how to motivate people to walk around that specific the Merrimack Court, and having this type of signage that says if you go around the Merrimack Court, this is the amount of activity you will get, and this is potentially the amount of calorie you might burn. That will help a little bit when it comes to physical activities, because you have that opportunity there already. That's in the center of the Lower Tower Hill. So that's something that I was thinking, and perhaps the sidewalk right around there is something that needs to be improved. That if you put it on your notes, that might help.
Thank you for that. I've actually spoken with the director for the Si Se Puede program, looking to talk with her youth, because she did say to us that she has a group that meets. So that's something that's in the planning process as we're coming together, because we just started year 2, but that's one person I spoke with, and she did indicate to me that she has a teen group that meets. It's a smaller group, but looking to see, because we want to ensure that we're hearing all voices. We're also from the neighborhood block party. Martha Holt was able to connect with a couple of residents, because one of the things that we're asked to do is to do true community engagement, and our proposal was to create a resident advisory committee. And so we're looking for different perspectives on that committee. So I did reach out to the Si Se Puede program, and we'll be having further conversations with them to get that youth voice into the conversations as well.
Last question, Madam Chair, I wanted to ask. So you're working with the Merrimack Valley Commission on this?
The Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, yes.
Yeah. So there is a way that they can provide you with a buffer zone that you can get that done through GIS, a buffer zone that actually provide walking distance from a specific place, perhaps the Gilmet, to see how far you can go and how far the students move around when it comes to physical activities and also when it comes to walkability to school with the youth. That's something that they might be able to provide, and that will be a great tool access to be able to identify the potential distance from different areas around the Eagle Med School.
Okay.
Right?
I will check into that.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor Luzon.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. To you, Madam Chair. She's just are city councilors able to join your meetings when, right now, like you're gonna start on Tower Hill?
Your strategy meetings, you mean?
Not, yeah, well, not it. I know that you have different meetings. So can any city councilor be part of the meetings?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now you know my colleagues. You are welcome to join the Mayor Task Force meeting. I know that, so I was part of the Mayoral Task Force. So that way you can get, because they always have great information and great data. Just to put it out there. I know as a council from District B, I would like to know what projects are happening in my area, but I know you send invites. I know you do. Alicia, just be careful, my suggestion with the churches, because some of the local churches, even though they are in our neighborhood, people that attend those churches are not from that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just, put it out there, be careful, because we don't want to get suggestions to people that don't usually use our sidewalks.
We do have a criteria for becoming a resident advisory council.
Thank you. And thank you for the great job that you do through the Mayor Task Force for the city. And I know this is going to be great for Tower Hill. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Councilor Marmo.
Ms. Miller, you mentioned a tour that was done yesterday. Who put together this tour?
That was the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission.
Okay. Just going forward, considering that a portion of Tower Hill I represent, it would be amazing for the councilors that represent that district, if it is
Appropriate,
but also if you guys see fit and adequate to have our opinion, if you could invite myself and Councilor Del Rosario to join you guys.
Yeah, I have invited you to our walks, but I will pass that on to Tony to make sure that you're a part of it.
Yeah, she has, but I've seen it.
Okay, I'm good.
you have, Alicia, you have a little cheerleader here next to Councilor Luzon. I know, I have to say, Ms. Miller, I always appreciate when you're in front of us advocating for something, because you are always so well prepared and you know your data and you just know your stuff, and you're very passionate. So I love when you come before us.
Thank you. And if you ever want to see the map, I can share that with you so you see what it looks like and why we chose the side, the area that we chose. The whole premise is to start there because it's the highest need, but as things start to improve, we'll look again with Greater Lawrence, since they serve most of our community, at what's trending in what other space, and then move on to that space.
I am curious, and I'll set up a meeting with you later on to see data, whatever data you have for the South Lawrence area. It could be, and I'll probably speak to Councilor LaPlante too, because it could be just the South Lawrence as a whole, since there is a clinic in district staff, and perhaps him and I can meet. It might not be the biggest need, but I'll definitely be curious to see what the data looks like in those neighborhoods.
Yeah, I have that. That is on the map.
Okay, all right. So
because we did the whole city.
I'll
so
connect
you'll see
with Councilor LaPlante, and we'll do like a South Lawrence thing with you.
Okay. There is actually something coming to South Lawrence, just on
a different item.
Madam Chair, I recommend item number 45424 to be sent to full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made, probably second in discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, Councilor.
All right, next item is item 455-24, payment of prior year invoice in the amount of $944.07 from Amazon, and we have our city clerk, Eileen Burnell, here for this.
Good evening, councilors. Thank you for your time. Eileen Burnell, Lawrence City Clerk, 257 Mount Vernon Street. We had an invoice for Amazon for some toner and printer ink last spring, and it inadvertently got paid to the wrong vendor. The vendor did reimburse us the money, but Amazon still hasn't been paid for that amount. So just looking for your authorization, since it's a prior year invoice, to get that bill paid.
I'll make a motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made, properly seconded in discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it.
Thank you
That's
very much,
easy.
councilors. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Next item is item 456-24, appropriation transfer in the amount of $1,266,836 from Capital Reserve Fund to DPW Capital Improvements, and we have our CAFO here, Mr. Iannello. It's true what Gio said, the screen, you can't really, you can't see anyone.
Good evening, councilors.
Good evening.
This is the transfer as part of our budget process. We budget this amount. We budgeted $1,266,836 in a capital reserve fund. It's part of our general operating budget. And we're required by Chapter 58 of the Acts of 2010 to budget 1.5% of our prior year tax levy for capital improvement items. So this is a request by DPW to use this is the entire amount for capital improvements related to the Essex Street project. It's road and paving improvements and various improvements that the DPW director asked, and he's gonna, the entire allocation this year will go towards that project.
Mr. Reno, is this, I've had a few conversations with the DPW director, and he did inform me that a capital improvement item was coming down, but I was under the impression that one, and it might be a different item, but I don't know if this is the same item or not, but it was focused on sidewalks, roads, like it was more generic, not just
Yeah,
Essex Street.
that's another, we haven't brought that down to the council yet. That
Okay.
would be another, that's several $1 million he's asking for, so that would be
Got it, okay.
a new capital improvement,
Yep.
whole bond authorization. This is just money that's already budgeted.
Mhm.
We can appropriate and get this project started. So that's why he asked
Got it.
asked to use it out of this, these funds are already available.
All right, councilors, any questions? Council President.
Just through you, Madam Chair, just have the details of the project to be sent to us next meeting.
Yeah, I'll ask the DPW director to send it to you.
Thank you.
No more questions.
That was any? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll ask for more, I'll place a motion to send it to the full council with a full recommendation.
Motion has been made. Is there properly second in discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Our, Vivian, sorry, Councilor Marmol. Item 457-24, authorization to expend $187,161 under the PSAP 911 training grant. And we have Director Rosa Shepherd from the Lawrence Police Department here with us today.
Good evening, City Council. Rosa Shepherd, Director of Support Service at the Lawrence Police Department. The Lawrence Police Department applied for the 911 training grant, and we were awarded the amount of $187,161.11 from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts under the EOPS. We will use these funds to mainly hire an instructor and to train our officers or anything related to the 911 dispatch. And we will pay 4 classes, a total of 16 hours, and it will 16 hours for the classes plus the time spent taking the training for the officers, to the officers.
Thank you, councilors. Any questions? Council President.
Just a quick question, this money, or these trainings are the trainings that the police take advantage of to be able to deal with anything related to 911, but is this actually specialized a little deep into how to deal with a person with disabilities?
Yes, it does. I do have a whole list that the agency sent us of the trainings that we need to go ahead and choose which training they are going to take this year.
The reason that I'm asking this question is because, I mean, it was a petition from one of the local organizations from Lawrence that asked us to seek for the police officers to be able to be trained on dealing with crisis related to people with disabilities sometimes that is not appropriate training when it comes to amount of people that get those training. Some police departments, they have 1 or 2. Lawrence, I believe, we have more than that by the time that the question was asked, but I want to make sure like that type of training is still within the book of priorities, since that could be something that we definitely need in cases, specific cases related to people with disability.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely pass that on to the officer that oversees that department. Again, we will just receive the list of the training that it will be given for FY25. We haven't chose the classes yet, as we just got approved for this grant.
Just one last thought. Do you mind once you pick the classes, do you mind sharing with us so we can share with the council and with the ADA coordinator so they know exactly what the police is being trained on?
We can
Thank
do
you.
that. Yep.
Appreciate it.
Councilors, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made, properly seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Our next item is item 458-24, authorization to expend $52,373 for FY25 Municipal Road Safety Grant, and we have Director Shepherd here. You have the floor.
Sure. We apply for the Municipal Road Safety Program, which is a grant funded through the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration through the EOPS in the amount of $52,373. The goal for this grant is to be able to provide education to the citizens on the driving, biking, and walking. And plus help with the with the traffic as well.
Councilors, any questions or comments? Councilor Marmol.
Are you able to provide detail in terms of, let me see, specific traffic enforcement related equipment? I have such a big interest in terms of how this would, what does it entail, like specifically, especially in my district, because we've had major issues in like streets such as Water Street in terms of safety and driving recklessly. So I'm wondering, how would this grant be a benefit to address those issues?
To that specific street or just indirectly to the city?
It's specific to the city. I know my street is not the only affected street, and my district is not the only affected district. So in terms of what related equipment would this grant go towards to address those issues?
Okay, I can ask Jason to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, councilors. Thank you. Jay Cirillo, Lieutenant Lawrence Police Department. So again, like Rosa explained, the traffic grant gives us money for campaigns. Usually there's 6 to 8 campaigns, which focuses on distracting driving, speeding, sobriety checkpoints, as well as reckless driving and impaired driving. So there's usually 6 campaigns, and those campaigns usually go on a monthly basis. So again, you might have in January, you might start impaired driving. June, July, it was speeding. So every campaign that comes up, it runs for 30 days. That gives us money for enforcement. And again, we try to target streets, which we're getting complaints from, top accident locations, things of those natures. As far as the equipment, I believe we've been getting this grant for about 4 or 5 years. The first couple years, we were in dire need of radar guns and LiDAR guns. So we used the portion of the grant, which I believe roughly is between $10,000 and $11,000 for equipment, correct? We used that to purchase LiDAR guns, radar guns.
What is you said radar, and what's the other gun?
LiDAR.
LiDAR?
It's just a different type of radar,
Okay.
more advanced. So we bought a combination of LiDAR and radar. Those were distributed through, the platoons, as well as community policing and special operations, so that officers could get out there and do some speed enforcement. The next popular item that we've been doing over the last few years is the portable speed boards, which we're trying to get up in different neighborhoods, and we've had a few issues with when we get the speed boards, they don't have the parts, but we are getting them up and we're getting them out. We put a couple.
Took 2 years because of the parts. It's not your fault.
No,
but
I agree.
I
So we did run
understand.
into an issue with parts, and they're not having the proper harnesses. There's been a lot of issues, but we are rolling them out now. They're getting out into the neighborhoods. I'm getting the evil eye from Councilman Rodriguez. He's been promised one. We're gonna get that up for him, I promise. So that's what we've been using the equipment money on, because again, it's a very popular item. It's a portable speed board, so which means that we can put it up in your neighborhood. We could keep it there for a little while. We could move it to another spot in your neighborhood. So they're very popular. They run off of solar, and they're easy for us to put up. So that's what we've been buying with the grant over the last few years.
Besides the portable speed boards, has the department, in conjunction with the mayor's office, have you guys discussed any other type of method besides the speed board? Such
So
as maybe
I
a
know
portable
coming up,
signal?
we're gonna talk a little bit about, in the next, in the public safety, we're gonna talk a little bit about speeding and different issues. I can be happy to get into that, but there, again, there's been some discussion about reducing the speed limit citywide to 25. Again, I think it's something that would work, but I think there's other and better alternatives and proven methods that we've had over the years to address that. And again, I think that's something we should talk about calming traffic patterns. So there's things we can do with the streets. I know we can't do speed bumps, but there is a thing called speed humps. When we're constructing new streets, we can put those in. There's speed cushions that doesn't affect vehicles like that. There's different things where we can, move the traffic patterns, not widen it, shorten it, put different things to control the traffic. I think those are the avenues that we should really look at. Because again, if we reduce the speed throughout the city, we have to have people to enforce that, okay? And again, the people that are law-abiding are gonna go the speed limit, but you're gonna have the people that don't follow the rules. And again, a sign or a reduction in that speed is not gonna do it. I think physical adjustments to the roads would be a better shot. Again, especially on areas where you have a straight shot like Mount Vernon Street. That's where you could take advantage of speed humps or speed cushions to slow people down, or a long street like Essex Street. It'd be perfect for speed humps.
Which
So
a
again,
lot
I
of
think
downtowns
those are the
have
things that we really should be looking at, speed calming issues on the streets that are a problem. Again, I'm not opposed to lowering the speed limit. I just don't think, I've done a lot of research on it, and again, I can get into that now if you want, but I was gonna save that, I know that was coming up in the next thing. But there are a lot of measures we could take as a city to address some of the speeding issues, and I think it'd be more effective.
So just to finalize the line
Yep.
of questioning, considering that this topic will be discussed in public safety, if anything does get approved in terms of the reduction of speed limits, or even the authorization of including any of the these other methods that you just mentioned, which is the speed humps and
Yep.
cushions, which I didn't even know that's what they were called.
Yep.
Could with this grant be added to, include these additional, like?
Well, that's a
Would
good.
we have enough money within this grant to include those items, as under the equipment?
Unfortunately, no, because the budget was already approved by the state. We'll have to wait when they open the grant for FY26. So whatever is on the budget, that's what they approve, and that's what we have to abide for. But definitely for FY26, I can talk with the project coordinator at the state level and ask if we can include that in the budget.
Okay, I mean, it's considered a specific traffic enforcement related equipment, so I'm thinking it's vague enough that it would be.
No, I understand, but yeah, since the budget was already approved for FY25, we cannot make any amendment to the grant, but definitely for FY26, I can ask and do a little more research to see if we can add that part into the grant.
Okay, I'm all set.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Council President.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I'm a little confused with your last statement. You're saying that the fiscal year was already approved in June, right? That's what you're referring to? Or you mean the budget for this specific grant?
The budget for this specific grant was already approved by the state. That's how we were awarded this grant, based on what I submitted to the state.
But then you went around it because you should get these things first. The budget through, next time just give us some opportunity to discuss this, because we part of the community. We hear a lot of complaints and a lot of issues that it might be productive to actually share when a grant like this come up in front of the police department. And it's not necessarily because you're going to take into consideration every councilor's opinion, but at least you open it up for a potential out-of-the-box opinion, like Councilor Mamui was saying, like she's thinking, how we can improve this. And I was also thinking about it because I thought that we have an opportunity to spend this money on other things. And one of the things that I was thinking is when it comes to the pedestrian and bike safety items, that you have $1,451. I know that we, in the city of Lawrence, we have a jaywalking law. It's a $5 a ticket for a jaywalker. They haven't changed in years. And I also know that you have a campaign that usually put somebody on the street, usually Gotti, he's the one going across, and then you pull people over to educate them when it comes to carjacking. Wall jacking. Or jaywalking. Carjacking is something different. Jaywalking. So essentially, having this type of, do you have any campaign related to that within this grant? Perfect, awesome. I would like to see more of that because it's an issue.
In addition to the campaigns I talked about, there's a pedestrian campaign, which you're talking about, which targets vehicles not stopping in crosswalks, so we do a lot of crosswalk operations. And then there's a separate portion where it allows us to do presentations in the schools. So during the Smart Cadet program, we do a lot of presentations in the schools. We discuss crosswalk safety, we discuss bike safety. There's money attached to that also to buy bike helmets, which we distribute in the schools as well, with coloring books and stuff like that. So there's a couple of different things built into the grant that allow for presentations and community involvement.
Okay, perfect. So, and that was my line of thought, because when you have, it is great when you do this campaign, but I think it will be essential for us to start doing a campaign the other way around. I think that people tend to believe sometimes that just because they walking on the crosswalk, they have the right to just walk in front of the car because they have the green light, even when the cars have the green light, and that's basically when it sometimes it become an issue when it comes to traffic jams and stuff like that, because people go across, everybody need to stop, and they don't get from point A to point B, especially on Broadway Street or coming from the south. When you have situations like that, that's an issue.
Yeah,
So there is a way that we can actually
don't
do.
issue tickets for that, but when we're doing the crosswalk safety, we do address people walking aimlessly, not using the crosswalks. And again, as part of the Smart Cadet program, that's one of the topics we talk about, crosswalk safety, using crosswalks, things like that. So
And when to
again-
use it.
What's that?
And when is appropriate to use the
Correct.
crosswalk.
Correct.
Have you considered also a bike safety item that kind of people tend to not respect cyclers? And because they think that the people that cycling should be on the sidewalk? And the reason that I'm saying this is because I have a bike, I have multiple bikes, and I do a good amount of miles when I go on my bike. And the most dangerous 2 miles are here. That's concerning.
I think that's a great idea, and if you would be willing,
Yeah.
you could serve as the decoy for us.
No, but not truly. No, truly.
Yeah,
I'm more than happy to.
I think
Yeah.
that would be great. I think maybe we could put together an operation of awareness, and you could be the decoy.
No, by all means, I truly would like to see that happen. I mean, it
He's
is.
blushing, he's blushing.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
at him.
No, truly.
He loves it, Lieutenant.
And the thing is like, it is dangerous to go on a bike here in Lawrence. It's like, everybody's like, go to the sidewalk. I say, dude, don't tell me to go
Let's
to
do
the
it.
sidewalk.
I'm down for it.
Yeah,
do it.
let's make something
All right.
happen during the summer.
You heard it. That's going to be
No,
one
no,
of the
no,
operations.
uncompromised.
Yep. We can definitely do that. That's something
Yeah.
we should do.
Yeah, thank
Right?
you, thank
We'll
you.
talk about it.
I appreciate it
Awesome.
because I mean, something that we need to educate our people a little more.
Yep. Awareness.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Councilors, any other questions or comments?
I mean, I'll make one more comment.
Councilor Marmol.
Ms. Shepherd, I just want to make sure I'm not reading this incorrectly when I'm looking at the data in terms of the equipment. So, under the equipment side, I'm seeing speedboard with data record, we're at $3,812, quantity 1. So meaning only 1 will be ordered for this fiscal year?
Yes, I did request it more, but unfortunately, the state reduced the budget and the equipment part because over 200 communities apply for this grant in specific. So they revised the budget for absolutely everybody. So a lot of people got reduced equipment, not the overtime, but the equipment part was reduced by a lot of people just because it was an overwhelming amount of application this year for this specific grant idea. They emailed me and tell me that unfortunately they needed to reduce the amount of equipment for my grant, for this grant in specific.
So they need to determine the quantity?
Yes.
Okay. Let me shift my face, because I was slightly disappointed, like, one.
No.
We chose, or I don't know who
I,
comes up with a quantity,
yes, I come up with a quantity, but they, at the end, they decide how much they're willing to award and how many equipments I'm allowed to purchase.
No further questions.
I have a quick question. Can you describe a bit what the winter impaired driving campaign is under traffic safety enforcement?
So winter impaired kind of focuses on the specific hours that we can do the operation, and what they're looking for you to target is, driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So usually there's a restriction in the hours that we can send the officers out there, and it's usually like, 5 to 1 a.m. or something along those effects. But again, they're looking for impaired drivers. And again, a lot of times with that grant, we couple and partner with the Massachusetts State Police, and we usually do a roadblock or a sobriety checkpoint somewhere in the city, and usually we do a couple of those with them during the course of the year for impaired driving during those campaigns.
Thank you. Councilors, any other questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to send this to the full council with a full recommendation.
Motion has been made, properly seconded, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Last item, Director Shepherd. Item 502-24, the authorization to expend $19,729 with 91 cents of the Bureau of Justice Assistance Grant for bulletproof vests.
The Lawrence Police applied for the bulletproof vest grant, and we were awarded $19,729.91. This grant will help us to buy up to 35 bulletproof vests for the officers that are either about to expire or already expired at this moment.
Councilors, any questions or comments?
Just a quick question.
Council President?
There is a requirement for the police officer to wear this type of approved bullet vest?
If there is a requirement?
Yeah.
Yes, it is a requirement. Yes.
All right. Answer. Like those.
Yes, sir, it's a requirement. Yep.
Next question, can you respond the next question for me?
You want me to respond, or?
Yeah, because you know the next question.
What's the next question?
I don't see anybody wearing those.
Well, not everybody wears them. I don't think it's a policy, but we do ask officers to wear them.
I just wanted to know. Thank you.
Councilors, any other questions or comments? Seeing none,
I'll make a motion to send.
motion has been made, properly seconded, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Thank you so much. See you next week. All right, councilors, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion has been made, properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Thank you so much. Good evening and welcome to the Public Safety Meeting. Today is Wednesday, October 9th. It is now 7:16 p.m. Voting members with us today, we have Councilor Gregory Del Rosario, who has joined us through Zoom, and we have the Council President, Giovanni Rodriguez. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Public Safety Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may either attend here in the City Council chamber or use any of our social media accounts. Join me, at this point, please join me for the pledge. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let me make sure. Councilor Del Rosario, can you hear us well? Okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right, councilors, we do not have any minutes to approve, so we're going right into the new business. Our first item is item 125-17, establishing maximum motor vehicle speed citywide to 25 miles per hour. Request to amend Chapter 10.26, and this was brought to us in 2017 by former Council President Vasquez and now current Council President Rodriguez. Council President, you have the floor.
Oh, well, thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to speak on this item. I was planning on being in the public talking about this item, but now I'm here to make sure that we have quorum to get this meeting going. Well, thank you again for the opportunity. This item was put together back then in 2017, establishing the maximum speed limits for the city of citywide to 25 miles an hour. The most important part on this item was that the streets that are already lower than 25, they're going to stay lower than 25, and what the intent is to have school zones that are under 25 miles an hour to stay like that, and also the streets that are above 25 miles an hour that are major arteries of the city of Lawrence, that we can define those and maintain those major arteries over 25 miles an hour, as data shows that it is safe to drive on those major arteries above 25 miles an hour. The intent is to, it was a report being done by a consultant that helped the city of Lawrence to identify major issues that talk about different things that are essential when it comes to data collection, and when it comes to justification of why the city of Lawrence might be benefit from this. And as I stated previously, back in 2017, I was part of my argument was that reducing the speed limit of the city of Lawrence is not going to be just one thing. It's going to be multiple things, a combination of multiple things that can benefit the education portion of it, for the community, that can benefit the infrastructure of the city of Lawrence, the signs, the type of signs that we're going to be using on different locations throughout the city. But more importantly, is one of the biggest issues that we have is letting people know that the city of Lawrence is serious about this important issue. Reducing the speed to 25 miles an hour, a lot of people want to talk about it, but having people talk about an issue, that's civic engagement. And if we have that possibility through an item, a lot of people are going to be in favor of it, other people are going to be against it, and maybe other people are going to be asking for more information when it comes to data as of why it will be benefit for the city of Lawrence to reduce the speed limit to 25 miles an hour. The report, the contents of the report talk about the rationalization of the speeds, of the speed limit, government rationalization, drivers, determining reasonability and acceptability, statistics, how to reduce the speed, education, enforcement, and traffic calming, decreasing the speed post in order to decrease driving speed, education in driving and lowering the speed, enforcing rotational speed limits, importance of focus and enforcement of initiative and writing a comprehensive plan, importance of data, speed enforcement strategies, importance of fundings, and many other things that include but not limited to traffic calming measurement, vertical deflection, horizontal shift, roadway narrowing, and closures. All that information is on this report. That this report could be reflecting the current 2024 if we as a council decide to get an updated version of it. It is a very comprehensive report that it is perhaps 7 years old, but we can have the same company look into current data and integrate those data so we can be able to make a determination based on a report that reflects the actions, the measurement, and the potential benefit to the current city of Lawrence 7 years later. I think it's well overdue to have this type of measurement throughout the entire city unless it's specified. And I'm going to emphasize on that, unless it's specified. If it is under 25 miles an hour, perhaps the school zones, that will stay like that. And if it is in a road that is based on the different departments' recommendation that is eligible to maintain to maintain 25 or go above the 25 miles an hour based on recommendations, that will also be acceptable. These plans, I think that in roads that are major arterials and perhaps that are part of the grid of Mass DOT roads, perhaps those are streets that we should look into it when it comes to maintaining the current speed limit, and also request any other street that we believe the city will be benefit from it if we reduce it. I think that, this item is very important to the city of Lawrence, and I'm very passionate about it. I mean, I think that we should go and look into this closely, and that was one of the reasons that I sent it over to the safety committee to be able to further study on this item.
Thank you, Council President. I believe, Lieutenant, are you here to speak on this, on both? I know that the chief was also invited. Is there a reason why he's not here tonight?
Yeah, so the chief has asked me to come speak on this. He had a previous engagement. So, again, good evening, councilors. Prior to coming here, I kind of did a little homework and gathered some information regarding the speed change, which is governed under Chapter 218, 193, and 194. And again, that's 9017C, which allows cities and towns to opt into reducing the statutory speed limit from 30 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour in thickly settled areas or business districts. Again, like the council president mentioned, That would not affect any areas that are regulated, like 20-mile-an-hour zones in school districts or anything like that. If you wanted to change any of those, you would have to have an engineering study prior to changing those. And it wouldn't supersede any existing posted speed limits in the city. Those would still govern and be effective. Again, there's two ways to do this. You can opt in for the whole city, or you can opt in for a street-by-street or a district-by-district basis. I did contact several cities and towns that have opted in. Out of the 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts, about 88 of them have opted in. Andover Police Department is one of the only ones in the Merrimack Valley that has opted in, and they opted in for a citywide or townwide change. Some of the other towns and cities that I spoke to that opted in and got some of their feedback. Again, some of the feedback was, it required a lot of new signage, and it was very costly. Some of them, seen no significant reduction in accidents or in the amount of complaints for speeding. The enforcement they talked about was very tough to do citywide. They felt like they didn't have enough officers to get out there citywide and get it completed. And then there was complaints on both sides. So there was complaints that, the speed limit shouldn't have been reduced. And then there was a lot more complaints stating that, people were speeding even at 25. So again, there was no happy medium, I guess, so to speak. They did put up a lot more portable speed signage as well, like we talked about, which is great, making people aware of their speeds. Again, I'm not quite sure if that slows everybody down, but, again, I think the people who are law-abiding citizens are going to follow the speed limit, and the people that don't are going to continue to speed no matter what the speed limit is, I guess. So again, those are some of the things that, I found out. As far as the Lawrence Police Department, we have an excellent crime analysis director and unit. I did look into some of the stats as far as accidents, fatal accidents, pedestrian accidents. From 2021 to 2024, we had 7 fatal accidents in the city. A lot of them weren't related to speed. There was one that I saw that was directly related to speed. Another one was speed as well as, reckless driving and OUI. So we looked at that. And again, we look at and monitor the top accident locations every year in the city. And I think that's it's a great thing to do because it allows us to address certain dangerous intersections in the city, okay? And again, I'll give you an example. In 2022, Andover Street and South Broadway, we had 18 accidents there. Again, through education, enforcement, physical adjustments to the lights, signage. In 23, we had 0 accidents there. In 24, we have 0 accidents. So again, this is an example of, doing a combination of everything. It's a combination of education, enforcement, prevention, intervention, and community involvement, okay? Because again, we've got a lot of people giving us, examples of when the traffic was heavy there, times when people are speeding, so we could address that enforcement. So again, I think that's a proven formula that works for the police department, and I think we do a pretty good job of addressing these issues. We certainly don't, we don't have a magic wand that stops all the speeding, but again, I think that's certainly, a recipe that we have that really helps us out and reduces the number of accidents. And again, like we spoke, I think there's other things we can do, and like we talked about, traffic calming measures, where we introduce the speed humps or speed cushions. That reduces speed on some of these roadways by 25% and reduces accidents by 13%. Again, traffic circles, half closures, different things of those natures are some of the things that we can look at to reduce you know, and calm down the speeds as well as the traffic.
So, the enforcement piece of it
Yep.
is where I'm having a little bit of a bit of doubt.
Okay.
I know the department is trying their best that they can, and we see it. However, there is also a sense, I mean, what I witnessed being on a ride along, what I read, what people, residents of Lawrence write on social media about the police department and everything, there seems to be a lack of respect, and it's like, oh, it's just Lawrence Police. It's just Lawrence Police. Like, for example, North Street on Andover, like right at the end of Mount Vernon, when I take that street and I'm on it, and I make sure I'm 25 miles an hour because I am scared of Andover Police. You know, so that's the respect that I have for. I mean, I have respect for police in general, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. So how do we? I mean, I guess this is. I don't even think it's just an ongoing education.
Again, I'll just give you a brief example of again why we don't have the enforcement we have. Right now, we're down almost 30 police officers. Okay,
Mhm.
and again, when we're down officers, our first priority is patrol. Right, when some 911 rings, our officer has to go there.
Mhm.
Well, when we don't have enough officers that are on patrol, the specialty units are where we take, okay? So over the last 3 years, I've gone from 17 community police officers to 3. So again, there's not a community police officer in every neighborhood association anymore, okay? There's not a community police officer on early nights. There's not a community police officer on the later shifts. There's 3 of them on days. We do not have the bodies. In a perfect world, we would have every officer in every neighborhood like we did in the past. And again, that officer addresses it. Officer Pedalaro, who just retired, was responsible for Prospect Hill. Every day I get a complaint from somebody, where's the officer that was on Marsden Street every day? Where's the officer that was on Ferry Street every day? Well, that was Officer Pedalaro. He retired. He would give out 200 citations a month. That's a lot of enforcement. And guess what? Just like you just said, every morning they would know at 8 o'clock.
That he would be there.
in
There
that
was a
area.
respect.
So
Yeah.
guess what they did? They
Yeah.
slowed down.
Yeah.
Just like Andover has that car parked right on the border as you come over, right? They're waiting for people speeding. In a perfect world, we have that. But unfortunately, right now, we're down 30 police officers. And again, that affects the way we police.
Right.
We can't be as proactive with our traffic enforcement, unfortunately.
Right.
You know, and again, it's very, very important. But I'll tell you, we do give out a lot of tickets. I mean, we average between 6,000 and 7,000 tickets a year. I mean, that's a lot of tickets. So officers are out there. But again, in years past, we had a lot of people proactively out there in community policing.
Right.
We don't have that.
Right.
And again, the recipe to solve that is hiring more police officers. And, you know, we're currently trying to do that. It's a long process, it's a tough process. I know we're in the works of doing it, so.
And I know we're not the only community
No,
suffering from this issue.
It's across the state. But again, the officers that are on patrol are very busy. They're going call to call to call. They don't have time for selective enforcement. That's
Right.
where the specialty units come in.
Right.
And when you don't have the officers in the specialty units, you can't do the things you want to do. You can't
Right.
do the community involvement you want to do. You can't do the traffic enforcement. So again, it's definitely something that we're aware of. It's definitely something we will get back to. But again, you need the bodies to do that.
Right.
And that's just not where it is.
Councilor De Rosario, do you have any questions or comments?
Yes,
You
yes,
have
a
the
little
floor,
comment.
Counselor.
You guys hear me well?
Yes.
So I respect what Lieutenant Zerillo says, and I understand. But there's times where you can see the violation right next to the police and they don't do anything. I've seen it. Like, let's put it simple. It's simple. It has nothing to do with it. No parking zone. You see the guys with the flashing lights and the police pass by, look at them and they keep going. And it's an automatic violation. And I said it once. If we enforce 25% of the ordinance that we have, people won't pay taxes in months. But that's okay. I'm all for it. I'm all for it for what Council President is looking for, but I'm going to express what I said the other day. 2017, it's 7 years ago. We should look into a new study, which it might result, and it might give us the same result, right? But we should have a more up-to-date study when it comes to the speed limits, bringing it down. So we cannot just base or go with this report that was done in 2017, which we know that our entire city had changed so much from that time. Even though the violations and what we're looking for to do is the same thing, bring it down to 25, but we should do a more up-to-date study on this. And again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, I'm with you, Madam Chair, it doesn't matter how low do we put it if we don't have enforcement. Regardless of what kind of ordinance we do, what kind of changes we do, what kind of law we implement, if we don't have enforcement, it's worthless to do things, invest the money. Because Lieutenant Zerillo says that some of the community says there's a lot of money in signage. But if we ticket these people that are speeding, we'll make our money back. I mean, it's speeding 24/7. If you do, I know we short staff on the police station, but if you do school zones only on dismissal, you will make your money. People don't respect the speed limits on school zone. People don't respect the stop signs on the school buses. And you don't see a police officer. And I know we're busy. I know we're extremely busy and short, but you don't see a police officers around the school on that time of the dismissal and early arrivals on the arrivals also. People seems to be stressed out and fast in the morning because they got to get to work. But they don't realize that they are in a school zone and there's a school bus and there's kids, but there's no enforcement at all. At 7 o'clock in the morning, you don't see no cops around the school, and at 2, 3 p.m., you don't see. So regardless of what we do, if we don't have the enforcement, it's worthless, honestly speaking, with all the respect, what we do here at the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Council President. Oh, I thought you were. So I think Councilor Del Rosario was stating what I was trying to say about the respect towards the officers. And I'm gonna piggyback a little bit with what Councilor Del Rosario said. I've also seen where there's been some violations and some officers don't even get out of their car. I've seen it on Exit Street. So that then creates the Facebook post that I see in the Lawrence pages is saying, well, Lawrence police don't do anything. I mean, they're just there. And that creates a lack of respect and people continue to violate our laws and, so it's perhaps an internal communication that the Lawrence police should have. And I know you guys have a lot, but a continuous conversation and educational component with your own officers within your own team. But it is happening and people are posting it out there and it's not helping our situation because we're all trying to work together to resolve this because it's affecting all of us.
And that's, I'll definitely pass it on to guys, but again, if there's ever any complaints or any issues, take a car number, call the OIC that's in charge, we'll address the issue. It's better for us to address it, just like when somebody says they call the police department and, oh, they got bad service. Well, all the lines are recorded. Mm-hmm. So again, we want that information because we want to provide the best customer service.
Right.
So again, get us the information. We're not gonna tell, oh, Councilor Infante called or this one.
Oh, it's okay because that's me doing my job. But you can say I called.
But it allows us to address that officer. The guy in 417 just drove by, a traffic accident. Well,
right.
That's not acceptable, right?
Right.
I mean, if there's a law being broken, we want to address it. And
Right.
again, that doesn't mean the officer is gonna get suspended, but again, maybe some verbal counseling, maybe, some
Mentorship.
mentoring,
Yep.
so, yeah, we encourage that. So again, if you see something, let us know. You all have my number, you have the chief's number, you have members of the command staff's number, let us know, we'll address it. Because again, that's not an image that we want to portray.
Right. And to Council Del Rosario, just quickly, I did have a conversation with Lieutenant Cirillo last week pertaining to school zones, and it's something that the department's aware of, and I know you guys are working towards that. So it's probably a conversation you might want to have with them later on.
And again, that's
some point.
another tough issue for us. We try to address that. I have to bring officers in from community policing early to address that, and that's not a problem. Get us the information, and we'll do it. But unfortunately, right now, we're moving officers around on a case-by-case basis because of the shortage. So
Right.
again, whenever you get you're seeing something at a certain school at dismissal, get me the information, you saw it, we got it done. So again, it's not an easy fix, but we can work together to get it solved.
So I have a question, but it might require for us to bundle the two items, because we have another item that's pertaining to the speed limit, which has a similar proposal, but with a pilot program for one specific area to see. We're saying now, we have the data, or a 7-year-old data that counselors are asking for an updated version. Well, in the meantime, is there a possibility to do a pilot program to see if this works? So I think it would be appropriate to bundle these two together. I don't know how the members of the safety committee feels, but I'm open to hearing your suggestions, your comments. Councilor Del Rosario.
With the other proposal, we discussed it yesterday on ordinance, and to me, I'm not agreeing with that proposal, because that proposal is only facing one specific area, which some of us could agree with me or not. In that area, a pilot program, it's not going to work. People don't speed back there. People don't drive fast back there. It's just driving tests and behind the R&B. So if we combine, we have the conversation open, we table it. If we combine some streets, they actually have real traffic. Like I said, not just in my district, but I mentioned Prosper Street. I mentioned Park Street. They have real traffic. That's where a pilot program might work. Because if you put it back there with Councilor LaPlante is asking for, and the way he said it, well, I got elected to do this district, and that I agree with that. That's great, but it's only one city. So we got to put it into where the real traffic is happening. And that's when you're going to see if the pilot program worked. You can not just narrow it in just one area or one district. You got to ID this real streets problem where people are really speeding. And yeah, we can bundle it up and we can do it all over, and some of us can, ask to add some streets if we want to do a pilot program. Again, I'm all for it, for the reduce of the speed in the city. I'm all for it, but we need to do it the right way. We need to do an up-to-date study. We need to put real streets where real traffic is happening, and we can go from there. And that's what it's. But I think, yeah, we might be able to bundle it up and do a new study on it.
Thank you, Councilor. Council President.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, essentially, the two proposals, even though they're similar, they probably have different content. I think that we should keep it as is, and that we can provide different studies and move forward with what is probably convenient for the city. But I think that where we are right now with this study, I think that we should get it updated and provide us with the actual more up-to-date data, but not necessarily bundling it, because this is not a pilot program. This is adopting of a law.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, I didn't read anywhere in the law that you could do a pilot program.
Yeah.
You could opt in on certain streets, but I don't believe there was anything in there. And I can research with, with MassDOT to see if there's anything, but I don't see anything in the law that allows you to do a pilot program.
So you can do individual.
You can opt in for individual.
Opt in for individual street, yes.
So I can make a
streets.
request for like Hamlet Street,
Mhm.
Amherst Street,
Essex Street.
Everett Street,
Everett Street.
every street that we
I
decide.
did not know that, so
Yeah.
now that I know that.
Yeah, so there's two ways you can do it. You can do a citywide opt-in.
Yeah.
Or you can do a street-by-street, district-by-district opt-in.
Yeah, and that's why, through you, Madam Chair, that's why I was saying before that if we believe that there's a street that we should keep it out, like perhaps major artery of the city, that it will be convenient to keep it at 30 miles an hour, or if we focus on just minor street and we define what minor street on the definition, which is basically our neighborhoods. Nobody should be going over 25 miles an hour within a neighborhood that it could be kids, knowing the fact that we are so congested. I think that even though, because I understand the enforcement portion of it, but I also understand that we as a council, we need to put the tools in hands of the police department, and then once we get to that point, we'll be able to do what we need to do.
And again, if you did a street-by-street, I mean, enforcement becomes a lot easier, right? And you know, the other thing, you know, I have in here, you know, if you were to take on a street-by-street, maybe you do a survey of the residents in that neighborhood, pre and post, you know, to see what, you know, if anything has changed, what their thoughts are on it. I mean, that might also be helpful to.
I already have some pre for Hamlet Street.
So there you go. Yeah, I mean, you know, a pre and a post survey might work too, on certain streets in you know, in the districts or in your neighborhoods.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would like to send correspondence with this report to the engineering department of the city of Lawrence to contact the company or to contact somebody that can update this report with the update data and be able to provide it to us through the engineering department.
You make the official motion, Council President. I do want to make a comment to Council Del Rosario about what he said in terms of speeding in these neighborhoods. Council Del Rosario, the differences between some of the districts, and so for example, issues that myself and Councilor LaPlante have in our district, we don't have busy roads or traffic congested areas. Well, I have Andover Street and South Broadway, but where we typically see most of the speeding is in these little neighborhood streets where they're racing, flying by other cars or going around cars and stuff like that, because it's a quieter neighborhood, it's a quieter area in terms of traffic, so some people take advantage of that. So it's a different type of traffic and issues for every district, so I just wanted to make that clear.
No, and I agree, but at the end of the day, it's 6 square miles, it's one city. And in every district, there's small streets. I mean, Council President lives in small streets, and I know that when they drive behind that, they fly. You know, I have a small street right next to me, right? Basswood Street, it's a less than 2 blocks. If you park an unmarked vehicle there, you might get tons of tickets there. People flying through Basswood Street, and it's a small street, and I know they use it. But there's what I came to say is there's busy streets. I'm not talking about like main roads, but there's busy street in different places. To just put a pilot program, and if I could say, well, let's do a pilot program in this 4th Street in my district, I would find it unfair, to be honest. It's only 6 square miles. It's only one city, and we all experience the same thing. Yeah. So if we eventually, I heard Lieutenant Zerillo say that we might not be able to do a pilot.
You might be able, yeah.
We need to incorporate not just one district and block it into there. How about if nothing happened while this pilot program happens? What data are you going to bring back? You know, you don't get a ticket through there. What data are you going to bring back? Because that might happen. People say, well, they targeted speed in this area, so they don't speed. And then a year doing a pilot program, what kind of data are you going to bring back? You're going to tell me that it works, and you're going to implement it in the busy area. So I think that we should, 9 of us, we should get together eventually if a pilot program is possible, and bring those little streets that we have in our neighborhood and put it all together and
Yep.
said, you know, this, let's try it in this streets. Or select street, up then some streets in our districts, like Lieutenant says, and put it in and see what happens throughout the year. But we definitely need a new study on it.
I was going to mention that, to perhaps do a pilot, an area in each district. However, now with the information that Lieutenant Cirillo mentioned, that might not even be part of the law. So we'll talk more about it later on, but Council President?
Yeah,
you
I think
have a motion?
that, through you, Madam Chair, I think that, having an opportunity, we have a tremendous opportunity here to be able to do something positive for the city of Lawrence in general. It's a matter of just acting in and acting out. Some street that we believe shouldn't be 25 miles an hour, should be lower than 20, 25. We set school zone, and we adapt in a base-by-base scenario. I think that with the new study, I think that we should look into major arterials and minor arterials, minor road, major roads, to see if they stay out, because it might be beneficial for that traffic jam that might produce the city by itself. And agreeing with Councilor De Rosario, we're a short street. I mean, we're short. We're 6 miles square mile, 6.7 square mile, and some locations where they have less congested area, they tend to speed more. Some locations that where they have less respect, they tend to speed more. So different scenarios, different situations, and I think that will be reflected when it comes to the new traffic data, traffic study that we might do. That will be essential to be able to make a determination citywide, adopting a specific street and taking some out. So with that said, Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to send this report to the city, city engineer and his team, to be able to get this report up to date and be able to provide us with specific needs that actually help us to produce or adopt this potential law.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded. Discussion?
Discussion.
Council De Rosario?
We can also piggyback right on the police department. I mean, they do, or they have great data that we can also use, like Lieutenant Cirillo just provide us with some data of some streets and accidents. Also, he said that we write so much tickets a year. So where are those small streets that we getting lots of tickets, or some of the tickets for speeding? So we also should get data from the police department, because they also drive on an everyday basis through our city. It probably more than our city engineer. So we should rely on them if it's possible for that data to help us ID those problem streets that we might up then on this speed, a no speed limit.
I think that might be more appropriate to motion under the pilot program item, because it's district specific, so that way we can go a little bit further. Hmm? What? Oh, we can use it, or we can do both. That's okay. Do you?
I'm assuming that that item will require a study as well. So they're going to be using data from the police department.
So then, Council President, can you amend your motion to include correspondence to also the police department to send us data?
Yeah, I will.
Work with the city engineer.
I'll take my motion to for the police department to send those or to work directly with that city engineering department and crime analysis in combination, to be able to provide us with a specific data that reflect the current situation in the city of Lawrence.
Okay. Motion, do you have that, Maria? Motion has been amended, it's been seconded. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, we got to do a roll call. Council De Rosario?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think that settles that one. Can I have a motion to table item
So move.
Item 125-17, motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Probably seconded. All those in, Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. Councilors, can I have a motion to table item 459-24, Business District Safety Initiative by Captain Maurice Aguilar and Lieutenant Dan Fleming? Captain Aguilar is not available tonight.
So move.
Motion has been made, properly seconded. Council Del Rosario? I always want to
Yes.
say- Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. Right, our last item is item 496-24, Speed Limit Pilot Project Act by Councilor Mark LaPlante. We don't, actually, this is not the last item. We do have an item to untable now that I'm looking at Officer Cano, almost forgot. Councilor LaPlante, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, members of the committee, Mark LaPlante, Lawrence City Council. So I heard, I'm not sure how much I missed, but I think I got the flavor of what the early discussion was about, and I think it's important just to kind of update this committee on what happened last night. Councilor Del Rosario was present at the meeting. One of the things that I think it's important for this committee to know is that when we had our discussion at the ordinance committee meeting, there was interest in other parts of the city also being included on that, and I thought that was an excellent idea. So we decided to table the matter before the ordinance committee last night. We all had a homework assignment that I'm willing to extend to this committee and to any other councilors, frankly, for them to piggyback on this. So if there are some streets, Hamlin Street, for example, are there any other blocks of streets that you want to see how that would work? How would 25 miles an hour work in this area? So you can do a test, no pun intended, a test drive in that section to see how that works. That way, not only do I think you're doing a good job by getting the data and more up-to-date data, I'm fully supportive that we need that to make informed decisions. That's great. But we also should be seeing with our own eyes and what's happening before we go full out. I think what Council President Rodriguez has before this, since 2017, is a good, I think it complements what I'm doing. I don't think they necessarily need to be separate, conflicting. What we could do is if we go ahead and go with the pilot projects and everybody's just at the at-large councilors can pick whatever they want as well, so they can really get a sense as to what's going on in that section. We as councilors can learn a lot from, I don't know how many months is 6 months. We can determine how long we want to keep it. And then if we like it, we can tweak it, we can do certain things, and we can figure out what's going on with the police, with enforcement, you rightfully mentioned, because without enforcement, it's key, it's critical. So, and then if we like that, then I think Council President Rodriguez's idea of having something more global fits in. So I see them as complementary, not as conflicting. I think it could be step one and then step two. I understand that there's no pilot project. That was my verbiage to put on there. I identified in your packet, you will see the streets that were listed. We all have our reasons. Counselor from District C had some opinions regarding District F about where he thought were the best places to go, what he thought might be a good place. I respect those opinions. But we all make our decisions based on things that we feel are critical or important. And
from constituent feedback.
Pardon me?
And the constituent feedback that we receive as district councilors.
100% council chair. So because I went to a neighborhood association meeting, and I believe you were there, officer, and I asked that question. And the people there wanted, so I knew that was going to work for that group. And I had a call from somebody else outside of that area saying, I watched your meeting. What about my street? And I said, you know something? Great, I would love to. Let's find out. Let's see how this works first. And if we can apply it to other streets, I'm definitely going to be on board. And I'm definitely going to be supporting that. So I just want to make sure that I think this would play well with the current Mass General laws that the officer, Lieutenant Cirillo was mentioning, that we would identify the streets, we would include those in, and then we work on that. I hope that answers your question, and I think it works well with the state law. I think it works well with council president, and it should work well with all 9 of us as we decide what streets we think are the streets we want to focus on in the short term, and then see if we can expand.
Thank you. Councilors, do you have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I have a question for Lieutenant Cirillo. So if we were to do this, well, we go through the process of updating the reports and all of that, going back to the law.
Yep.
How do we go about this?
So again, if you opted in for a street-by-street basis, you would get.
Oh, we got it.
Yeah, you would get the streets that you want added to that. We would have to obviously forward those to MassDOT. They would review them, make sure none of them were state highways. They were all statutory. There was no exceptions or special laws that we were breaking, and then those streets would become 25 mile an hour speed limit, statutory reduced from 30 to 25.
Okay.
So Billerica does certain streets. So they're one of the communities out of the 88 that does certain streets. There are a lot on the list that do just specific streets, not citywide.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Councilors, any thoughts? Okay, well, I think it's good to see what would work, what would not. I'm not necessarily opposed to this idea, but like it was mentioned, this is a group effort. So if we're gonna do this, then I would like to hear the opinions of the safety committee members on this. No comments.
Yeah, I mean,
Who wants to go first? Councilor Del Rosario.
Didn't we already put a motion and send to get information and get the study done and involve the police? So, I mean, the work's already started, so we just need to get the feedback from those departments and see where we go from there.
All right, so.
And again, maybe we get together with some of your, some of your constituents as well, and see if there's streets they have suggestions on.
Mhm.
I don't think that's a bad thing either.
Mhm.
Councilor Plant's done that in his district on some streets. He's hearing from other people. Again, Councilor Del Rosario should do the same thing. All 9 should. Again, there could be, there could be 8 or 10 streets, 12 streets, 15 streets that we opt into.
Mhm.
By a street-by-street basis instead of doing it citywide.
I'm definitely curious. I actually keep a list of all the streets that I get complaints on when it comes to speeding and traffic, whether if it's through Facebook, Instagram, email, text, whatever it is. I have it in my phone, and once we do get the report from the police department and the city engineer, I think that will be helpful to determine.
And again,
what clusters we're going to test.
When we get complaints, I can tell you that they're addressed.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we address the complaint, it's fixed.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, it might need maintenance over the years, but there's no magic pill. We continue with the maintenance, but enforcement, signage, again, adjustments to the roadway like we talked about,
Mm-hmm.
those are all things that work. 4-way stop barrels.
Yeah, what's funny?
Well, we use them,
What's
and
funny?
they work.
I tried to get one in we had an accident 2 weeks ago, I believe, in the Beacon Street and Mount Vernon Street intersection that wasn't pretty. Blew the four-way stops, and I went to DPW. I'm like, I want what Councilor Plant has because it forces them to stop. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it because I have 4 school bus stops right in that on that intersection, and it interferes with the buses. But we came up with another solution that I'm satisfied with.
I invented that, by the way.
I think is, I mean, it's not visually appealing, but because it's in the middle, it forces people to stop and it forces people to slow
Again,
down.
it's one of those physical adjustment barriers that
Yeah.
are, because again, somebody looks, they don't know what it is, so they stop,
Yeah.
right, or slow down.
Yep. Do you have something?
It works.
No?
I
You're-
just, General law says about speed limit. When you reduce the speed limit based on stop signs, that's not the intent. But I mean, that's fine. That's another topic.
Okay, so this is what we'll do. We'll table this item. We'll wait for the report back from the city engineer and Lawrence Police. That way we'll have data to help us determine whether or not to just go directly, if a citywide, directly into citywide, speed limit is more suitable, or if we should do district by district, pilot I know that's not the appropriate term, but pilot programs, to see if a citywide change is appropriate for our community. Does that sound good? Council Del Rosario, Council President Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so can I get a motion to table item 496-24?
So move.
Motion has been made,
Second.
properly seconded. Roll call, Council Del Rosario?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you. You might want to stay for the next one. Yeah, just in case. All right, councilors, can I have a motion? We have one other individual here. A motion to untable item 439-23. Motion has been made properly. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded. Roll call, Council Del Rosario?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So item 439-23 is a 30-second delay at all traffic lights / all directions synchronized. And this was brought to us by Officer Abel Gano back in November 8th, 2023. We were supposed to, I believe we did send this out for a review, but I don't think we ever got an answer back from the city engineer. However, Officer Cano is here with us tonight because he's done some further review of this and he wants to update the committee on this item. Officer, you have the floor.
Good evening, councilors. I just wanted to address the issue that a lot of the things that we're trying to do to make the city better, safer, not only for the pedestrians, but also for the motorists and for the first responders that go to these accidents that we have on a daily basis. I just want to remind you that from my studying and presenting to you, which is in your packets, the monthly stats that you have, we get no less than 190 accidents every single month from November till now. Every single month. So you think about the traffic jams, the traffic accidents, the injuries, the damage to property, the unfortunate situations that people find themselves having to rent a car and go through the ordeal of waiting for their car to get fixed. It's just astronomical. If we can entertain even putting it for 15 seconds of a delay, not 30 seconds, it might make a big difference. Just enough to clear the intersection so that people are not expecting that the light will change immediately and continue on their way and unfortunately be broadsided or hit somebody or hurt somebody. The most important thing is letting people cross. Nowadays, the traffic light will change. You're taking a left or a right. People are not looking when they're crossing the street. And it's very difficult to navigate with the amount of people that are here, the vehicles that are going, to and from. And I just want to please see if we can get some kind of answer from the city engineer and also from DPW and most importantly the fire department who does the traffic study so that they can let us know how simple is it to put a traffic light with a timer that's going to delay and allow us to better serve our community, which is only 6 miles, in diameter, in distance. And when you think about the distance and the amount of people, I think this would help, as well as what Lieutenant Cerullo is doing and Councilor Plant, trying to slow the traffic. Everything works in hand, and these little, we can do it, we don't have to do every single traffic light, but we can start at major intersections or at locations that we have major accidents. I think that it's a start, and I think it's very feasible. It's being done, and it is done in third world countries. I went to Costa Rica recently, and and it's for 3 minutes. So it's about looking at the whole picture, and I think this would be a start. We don't have to do every single traffic light, but at least we can start at certain locations that are major problems for us.
Yeah,
and
and
that we
over in
have a lot of
South
accidents.
Broadway Street.
And unfortunately, those locations are gonna be the ones that are the busiest. South Broadway at Andover, Water at Broadway, Jackson at Haverhill, locations that are really difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
So I'm asking for your assistance in trying to get an answer from our counterparts to bring this together and see what we can do.
Thank you. I know, before I go to the safety committee members, Councilor Plant.
Briefly, thank you. I just want to echo what the officer was saying. There are two priorities I have during this term. One of them is the Five Corners, the most dangerous intersection in the entire city. And if we're able to somehow, I know there's looking for grants to try to systematically deal with that intersection. The fatality that took place less than 3 years ago now at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure we all remember that. But if we can do something like that delay, at least a short-term tweak that could help with that intersection before we have a much bigger, comprehensive answer, I support what the officer is trying to accomplish, and I hope that this committee does as well. Thank you, and that's all I want.
Thank you. Lieutenant Cirillo?
So, again, I think I could maybe share a little light on this. So I've been involved with the grant writer regarding the major intersections along with the fire department. A lot of these intersections, the lights are old, they're antiquated, they can't get the parts from. So that's the first thing. The newer lights, the traffic division in the fire department cannot set them. They have to go through a state program.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been an act of Congress to try to get some of these new lights changed. And I know the fire department has been trying to do that. But the signal division cannot do that. And again, I'm only privy to this because I was in the meeting, but to reconstruct a whole intersection with new lights is about over $1 million per intersection. So again, it's not a quick, simple fix, unfortunately. And a lot of the lights in the city are very old. That's when sometimes you see that they get hit and they don't go back up, is because they can't get the parts for them. So it's definitely a problem. It's definitely an issue that we're working on. I believe we applied for a grant. We could try to get some more, I could get some more information regarding that. But the first phase of the grant was a study of the intersections that needed updating. We provided them with the top accident locations, and one of those accident locations was the Five Corners, as well as the other accident locations that we see frequently that the cause of the accidents are actually the lights, like Officer Cano was talking about. So again, it's a simple fix, but it's not a simple fix because of the cost.
Thank you.
So that's kind of where we are.
Council President.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Essentially, when you design an intersection, the traffic light on that intersection, what you do, in the way that you design it, and I'm gonna speak as an engineer now, is that you actually have the least amount of red that is required on every approach. And why the traffic engineers do this is because every time that you add, every second that you add to the red, that means that there is people delay. People want to go from point A to point B. But you have actual elevation traffic count. You don't do green and red time based on what you think. It's based on the traffic count for the peak hour, that you do it based on traffic count specifically during a specific amount of time, and based on 15-minute block, and then you determine your traffic, your traffic, where's the most concentrated amount of traffic during that time, your peak hour. And essentially you reduce the amount of red as much you can. But there is an all red within the traffic within the traffic light system or design, and usually that's within 3 seconds to 4 seconds. That's to clear up the intersection essentially. The last time we had this discussion, I put up my phone with a 30 second timer, and it is something that I definitely respect Officer Cano for bringing this up, because it's a concerning situation that we have in the city of Lawrence, and the safety portion of it, I definitely understand. I also cannot stop thinking about how this get designed, because I'm exposed to it on a daily basis, and essentially, it is a good initiative because we're thinking about what the potential of how we can improve our city. But I think it will be worth it to hear from the professionals as to how this could be done. I mean, I'm definitely not going to say that I'm opposed to it, because at the end of the day, the intention of the proponent is what matters, and how we can get things done within as a joint effort. That's what is important, and I definitely congratulate whoever make a determination of how we can improve the city, and that's the police department always have done that. Thank you.
Councilor Del Rosario, do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, when they presented the idea, I was looking at the cameras. You see my colleague Marlo Plan, and I say this would be a great pilot program for the 5 corners. We need to find somehow to get some delays on these lights in places like that, regardless of what kind of studies do we need to do or where we're going to get the money from. But that's an issue that we have in the city. And when the idea comes from the police department, regardless who bring it in this case is Abel Cano, you got to take into consideration how serious this is. It wasn't a constituency, it's a police officer bringing this and say, can we get this done to prevent accidents and prevent losing life, and all that an accident brings. So we need to find somehow how to implement, like he said, 10, 15 seconds if it's not a full 30. You guys know how I speak sometimes. I come home and I say, why did I say that? I regret, since I got elected, that the fire department is the one to control our sets of lights or the traffic lights. Why are they the one doing it? I don't know how that, I don't understand how that got there. It will be more an expert, somebody that is up to date with all the changes, and we might be able to get all the parts on time and get all these things on time with the state or whatever it is. But there's the fire department, that's a street light unit. To me, I don't know how that works, but to me, honestly, colleagues don't make no sense. But it's been like that forever, right? That's it. But we need to look into that too. Our lights get broken. They also, because parts or whatever, it takes too long to fix them. That's another issue. But we need somehow to try to implement some type of delay on our set of lights. And again, you might have those people that are rushing. It doesn't matter if you put an hour delay, they're going to be rushing. And that comes the enforcement. The enforcement at the 5 corners would prevent some accidents and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, we're going to end up with the same thing. You're going to do a delay on the lights, but it's going to be people rushing. Who's going to enforce after that? But we need to find somehow, I don't know, we need to talk to find some money and get some delays on some lights in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Officer Cano, are you willing to change your proposal to a 15-second delay?
Absolutely.
That
Again, we're
that was
looking
me
for-
doing a 15-second.
Absolutely, we're looking to
took your
try and
idea.
make this work. And again,
Okay.
I'm not, I just put 30 seconds because in other situations, I've seen a minute, I've seen 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I said, well, 30 seconds isn't that long,
Mhm.
considering, right? Depends, right?
Right.
But 15 seconds and do a trial, see how that works. I'm absolutely willing to give that a try.
Okay. Council President.
Through you. I think that maybe the police department, invite me over when you do that. I want to see it. Definitely.
It's the fire.
I would like to be part of it, to witness it. Let's bring Macioti as well. They have a traffic department, District 4, that they probably willing to come and see the study.
Okay, so considering also what Lieutenant Cirillo said, it's a simple fix, but also not at the same time. I still think we should send this up for review and get some answer. So can I get a motion to send correspondence to the city engineer, the fire department, and is there?
Police?
And the police department?
Yeah.
I'm just, because I know it's the fire,
I would
but,
certainly have the fire department, signal division, and somebody that's knowledgeable with the lights.
I mean, but if we need to do like a tryout, and then you guys are the only one that can stop traffic.
Yeah, so we certainly should be involved, but the fire department, we have to have discussion with them to even try to get this off the ground.
okay, so the city engineer, the signal
The fire department.
fire department, and the police department.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely make the motion.
Motion has been made, is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, roll call, Council Del Rosario?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. And at this point, can I have a motion to retable item
So
number
moved.
439-23? Motion has been made, properly seconded. Roll call, Council Del Rosario?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. Thank
Madam
you.
Chair, quick, do we have
Council President.
any other items to out of the table matter?
No.
All right, because I mean, last time we actually sent correspondence to the police department to give us some updates. But I mean, maybe we can refer to that and then next meeting we can have them come with that data.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I think I remember what data. I have to go back into my emails. I remember Teresa sending those. Councilors, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded. Roll call, Councilor Del Rosario,
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez, and the chair votes yes. Thank you so much, councilors. Have a great night.